The city of Umbar is under siege, and now the men of Harad must hold the line with new reinforcements and upgraded troops, and also a few baby Mumakil. Will they be strong enough to hold this legendary city? Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor online battles. Today we have an absolutely humongous engagement. Over 7,000 soldiers attacking and 6,000 defending. Should make for one hell of a siege battle. We have the Easterlings, 3 armies of the Easterlings attacking 3 armies from Harad. Obviously, this is with the brand new update as well. Obviously, with all the brand new units for Harad, they have a complete overhaul of their roster, and they look absolutely spectacular. So as the siege towers do approach, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the Haradrim. These are, I think the Haradrim have basically been split up into 3 different, I guess, tribes, almost, you can call it. We have these Mammoth tribesmen over here. Go and find a better one right there. Yeah, we have some of the Merhud clubsmen, and these are obviously going to be representing this tribe in its entirety, looking very, very awesome. Then as we go further and further back, we'll have, obviously, we have a Mumakil as well. So these are the baby Mumakil. Right now, they are heavily working on getting all the troll animations in the game, so they don't have time to do the full-on Haradrim Mumakil. However, hopefully in the future they will be able to, when they can kind of shift over the animation team into doing that. So right now they felt like they couldn't do the Haradrim without adding at least some form of elephant in it. So we do have the Mumakil in a very kind of small theme right now, but eventually they are planning, when the trolls are done, to move on to the Mumakil and add in some really glorious looking units. We then have these looking Haradrim swordsmen. These are kind of more of the iconic ones we know and love from the movies, and they look very awesome indeed. You can see the armor, the detail, and the weapons looking absolutely spectacular. And then as we go further back again, you can see some more of the serpent archers as well, with different styles in armor, looking very nice indeed. And then as we go all the way back, I assume they've left their elite units back here. No, we've got to see it. Here we go. Then we have the Black Numenorian looking units right here. So they're kind of like the 3 kind of, I guess, like diversity units in the Haradrim roster. You kind of have the tribesmen, you have kind of a more generic Haradrim, and then you have the Black Numenorians, who look absolutely awesome. I mean, just this armor is spectacular, and also gives Harad that real kind of staying power in the battle. These things also received a few more unit updates in this new one. They gone ahead and got the gear. Infantry were replaced. I can find some. Yeah, they have some of more of this cavalry right here, which you guys can see. They kind of replaced the way the gear do look, and again, I know I'm butchering that name, but yeah, they kind of replaced their look, and again, it looks awesome. I really do like it. I didn't dislike the last one, but I definitely do enjoy this one. So let's dive into the siege. This is obviously one of the battle maps of Umbar, and as you can see, the settlement is completely under siege. The actual gate itself is being smashed down, and doesn't really seem like the defenders have planned to defend the outer walls whatsoever. They're going to be falling back and holding the streets, which obviously is not a bad idea. They actually already have a unit of archers up here who have a pretty good kind of shot off into hitting these guys in the side. There are also some of the Maha clubsmen up there as well fighting. I think the unit was trying to retreat, but I guess some of them did get stuck, and you can see the volleys going in almost as if we're at Helm's Deep, and Aragorn has told the elven archers to go in and hammer the causeway, as they have found some pretty good shots right into the side of these Easterling warriors. And yeah, this is always one of the advantages on the Umbar map, is the ability to hammer the attackers as they mount the walls, which is, I guess, one of the reasons they did decide to fall back and really defend. But as you can see, the streets are being overrun now. The Eastlings are going to be bringing majority of their force inside the settlement, preparing themselves, obviously, for that assault. The arrow fire is coming in, trying to whittle down the attackers' advantage. And yeah, real smart move here, really focusing down the shock infantry. These are one of the best shock infantry units in the entire game, right here, the Warlords of Rune. And yeah, it's obviously the reason why they are the main focus point. And honestly, the attackers need to make a decision whether or not they decide to throw these guys into battle, or if they just, I guess I can hide them here. Yeah, we're going to see them hiding right here, then the arcing shots won't be able to quite hit them. They've already done a lot of damage to this unit, and I think maybe this unit's going to get suicided in, kind of the forlorn hope, as it were. They've already taken casualties, so now they will go out in a blaze of glory. This is so funny as well. It's like, oh, you could just hide the unit, but it's like, oh, this unit is taking casualties, throw it in. You know, it's just that frustration you feel. which is so funny. But yeah, this is not a bad unit to be lobbed in first, going up against the clubman. That was a really bad charge. What the hell happened there? They tried to form the formation. That's why. They tried to form a wedge formation. They get in there eventually, which is going to be good. But taking some pretty heavy casualties. And it'll be interesting. I actually don't really know, the real strengths and weaknesses. I mean, obviously, it's obvious what the strengths and weaknesses of the clubmen are. But yeah, I haven't played with these units enough. So I don't really know how these matchups are going to go. Which will be very interesting to play with more of a Haradrim to truly see exactly where their strengths lie, where their weaknesses lie. And obviously, they are fighting a pretty depleted unit. I mean, already these Warlords of Ruin have got 16 kills, so definitely always going to be doing pretty good regardless. And now we have fighting along the entire battle line. As you can see, more of these shock infantry being thrown forward. So really smart plays here now. There's not really anything to stop this shock infantry from getting in. So, having them, the first ones in, is always a good idea because they're the ones who can make that breach. They can break through the shield walls and do so much more. We also have some awesome archers back here. Again, I assume these are probably part of the Black Numenorian archer units kind of roster. Very cool indeed. Now you can see the tribesmen fighting for their lives. As we go further on down the line, you can see a big old battle erupting. Some of the Black Numenorians in there. Yeah, this is actually completely controlled by the Black Numenorians and the Haradrim units, throwing themselves in against the Easterlings. This is a true battle for the East right now, as both sides try and claim dominance over this area to gain Sauron's favor. Super awesome stuff. I'm also really interested as well to see what faction they're going to move on to next. The Eastlings are getting an update in the next patch. I think they plan on adding in kind of a few more units to fill out the Easterlings, but for the most part, the Easterlings are very much already have a solid roster. So the question is, what is going to be their focus after they've kind of wrapped up the Eastlings, kind of done the Haradrim now? We have Rohan. Obviously, we already have a lot of the other interesting factions. Are we going to get like a revamp of Dol Guldur? Are we going to get like the Orcs of the Misty Mountains? Are we going to get some Elven updates? Could the Elves, have a standard roster? But obviously, we could always receive a couple more units for them to help diversify them from their Elven kin. It's going to be really, really interesting. We also have a unit of archers set up here. Not a bad position just to be volleying down. And I assume their main focus is obviously going to be them halberds that are stuck in there. And I can only imagine them halberds are doing a pretty good job. Oh, it does seem like a unit of these javelin men did try to make their way through, but was immediately hammered by the camel riders of the Haradrim. Able to really commit to that. And I love the blades on there. It's almost just like a serpent blade. It looks awesome. And yeah, able to really pin down this unit very, very effectively. We also have another unit trying to break its way through as more and more of the Easterlings just pour through this little gap, but they're going to need to really make this breach, and I imagine more cavalry could quite easily be sent to deal with this. Yeah, going to be pulling out now, and I assume kind of revamping that charge. They obviously don't want to be taking a volley. By pulling out, though, they are going to be receiving a volley as they come in, and now these Eastlings are pouring round this gap. The archer fire is hammering the camels. And are they going to be able to get a javelin? Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. That volley is going to do a decent amount of damage to them. However, the camels did tank it quite effectively, and that charge able to get stuck in on these units is pretty good. However, more and more units are coming in. The Bane of the Steppe are now pushing in as well. And the Bane of the Steppe, at least were, before they got revamped, an amazing cavalry unit. They almost look like Macedonian cavalry in a sense, with that sun on their back and that royal purple. But we'll have to see exactly how well they do in the new update. More cavalry being brought around, and I mean, there are just handfuls upon handfuls of Easterling units just scattered through this. The gaps have really been made apparent. Look at that. I guess they came right through there, which is not good. And over on this side, the Easterlings are just getting absolutely thrust forward into the fray. And the Haradrim are getting pushed back very effectively. We have another unit of the Serpent Warriors here as well. One of the mid-tier glaive infantry. Able to charge in there against the spears. However, they are met by the Warlords of Ruin. And yeah, this unit of Warlords of Ruin up to 110 kills now. absolutely brutal. We take a nice little bird's eye view of the battlefield. You can really see the defense is already starting to crumble. This right-hand side has completely gone now, so they're going to be able to push forward a lot of soldiers. And obviously, the more they can push down here, the better, because then they can start helping out in these other engagements, really pushing the enemies back. And they have plenty of reinforcements. I think this is looking pretty rough so far for the attackers. Oh my god, look at that guy. He's like flexing, preparing himself. They have obviously some archers on here as well, but these arrows aren't going to be doing too much. It's only, what, like 10 arrows coming in. They're going to be doing the killing blow. They need to be very, very careful as fire arrows wrap through here. They're also fighting over at this breach point as well, as more of the clubmen continue to fight and die on the front lines of Umbar. So far, though, yeah, it's looking pretty sketchy. Obviously, they have some fallback positions. They have some more reinforcements they can send. Getting some archers up here. Smart move here. They're going to get their archers up here and probably reinforce their supplies with the supply barrel, which will give them ammunition when the soldier is completely up here. So, good use of that supply barrel. And also, you can obviously use it to volley down anything that makes its way down here. But, obviously, the Easterlings can just, like, rush their way up here. You start getting towards that city center and putting the pressure on, because they are really collapsing in on here. Some more of the clubmen committing to this battle. That cavalry being inside the city as well is super scary. That can do some real good damage when it gets a good charge. However, that was not a good charge at all, and the clubmen have been able to kind of stop them in their tracks, which is going to be really helping them in this combat. Very, very nice commitment there. That dude gets knocked off his horse for a second, but quickly finds himself on. And yeah, that was unfortunate there. The bane of the step, losing a handful of horses. And that's, you know, when it comes to it, losing that cavalry is really, really unfortunate. Oh, we also have some more of the chariots as well coming in here. The chariots did hit in, but they have been slowed down now, and I can only imagine that's going to be their folly, because once the chariots themselves stop moving, that's when they do end up dying. So you have to really be microing them as effectively as possible. And it maybe does seem like the unit did get a little bit bugged out there. Hopefully they can kind of rack up. But yeah, nice little charge off there. They did get 40 kills on that charge. So yeah, I imagine getting a chariot into the rear will be very, very effective. And here you go, the last remnants of the Black Numenorians here, fighting bravely on, but being completely surrounded. There is nowhere really left for them to go, and they will find their grave at the city of Umbar, taking down as many of their foes as possible, though, before they meet their maker. And obviously, as you can see, the morale of these units is very, very decent. Holding on to the last. Only 88 kills on it, though, which is, it was a bit of a shame. And they are, you know, kind of almost stabilizing this unit of the Mahad Batamirs. Have now set themselves up. So this is one of the, Beast Batamirs. Beast Masters have set themselves up quite nicely. That's going to be a kind of a good foe. They've left a unit of these clubmen back here as well, as a fall-on as a rear guard, I should say, even, as they fight the javelins and other units. Able to probably send this unit packing. Only 60 men left in the unit, but the morale is dwindling very heavily, and this is probably where the clubmen do shine. However, the rest of the Easterling army is fast approaching. Over on this side as well, you can see little pockets of Haradrim who have kind of been left behind in the siege battle. And they are being surrounded and dealt with very, very effectively. So they'll be gone fairly soon. And the majority of the Easterling army has now found its way inside. We also have an artillery piece here. Don't know what it's shooting at, though. We're shooting at something. I have no idea what. Oh, it's shooting at routing units? No! Oh, no. That is sad. It's on fire at will, so it's shooting these routing units. My god. Also, how lucky are them 4 soldiers to get the hell out of there? The city will be pillaged and burnt by the end of this. It really, really will. Another breach happening over here as the infantry do fight each other. Luckily, this is a fairly decent unit. Obviously, we have the elite Numenorians here, or Black Numenorians. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, though. That is a very difficult name with a lot of ellipses and stuff on it, so I'm just going to call them the heavy two-handed swords of Haradrim. And we also have the Mumakil as well. Beautiful, you love to see it. they're stuck in. But man, I cannot wait until they do move on to the actual Mumakil and we get full-scale elephants. And it'll be really interesting to see what they do with the unit size of them. Like, are they going to make it just like one big elephant, one big Mumakil? Or are they going to make it a couple of them? I guess we'll really have to see. And hopefully we'll get the trolls sooner rather than later in all their variants. I think we'll be getting a handful of troll units, whether it's the cave trolls, the Orlok High, the more heavily armored ones. It'll be very interesting to see exactly how they perform in battle. So a unit of halberds have now been brought up to help reinforce this, and they've made pretty quick work, I guess, with the support of the halberds. They're able to really send back the units and, yeah, break through this breach point. The elephants, though, the baby Mumakil up to 300 kills. That is not bad. Definitely earning their keep on the battlefield. And it just seems like the Haradrim are just being overrun by the sheer numbers of the attackers. However, they have really shortened the number advantage as well. The defenders have 3,100 and the attackers have 3,600. So they've definitely cut that gap by about 500 soldiers, which is not bad. But the defenders are really dropping out. If that was maybe them, they have been able to really secure this. However, the units there are now being hammered by the archers up on the wall as they volley down. If I was these guys, I would definitely think about pulling back now at this point. The left-hand side is lost. It's only a matter of time until these guys come in. You can see the arrow fire just hammering down, trying to take out as many of them as possible. But realistically, this outer layer is lost. There is no hope for it whatsoever. So get your soldiers and get them back inside and prepared to make your final stand, because yeah, sooner rather than later, this position is going to be overrun. And you can see, I think the defenders are realizing that under all this missile pressure, under the right-hand side being completely broken, they are just going to just bring everything back in, which I honestly think is the play right now. They don't have enough soldiers to hold these positions. Oh, we also have some cavalry that got brought around here, but unfortunately, luckily for the defenders, there were soldiers here holding that. So yeah, now I think what we'll see is basically the armies being brought inside as best as they can and prepare for that inner defense. Well, it seems like some retreating units were not lucky enough, and this unit of Black Numenorians have been caught out, and yeah, this cavalry is going to be licking their lips. Up to 62 kills now as they rip through that. And it's a really smart move here, using the cavalry to just really try and harass the retreating units. I think the rest of these guys are going to be able to get out there just in time. However, you know, still picking off like, what, 2 or 3 units, being able to kill these guys, which was kind of nice. You know, it's all going to add up in the final stand because, yeah, numbers are going to make a real big difference. And it does seem like the kill count has almost literally, give or take, like 90 men return back to normal, which is always pretty interesting. We have a little Rohan moment here as the Eastlings are charging towards the Mumakil. The Mumakil are going to be charging back at them. And here we go, smashing into their ranks. And as you can see, the elephants will be performing very, very decently against this unit. I've always found, in my experience in Total War, that elephants are perfect for dealing with cavalry, because cavalry just tend to not really have the ability to deal with them, and it keeps them away on the flanks nice and effectively, as we do get a unit of Haradrim Serpent Guard charging in as well. And this actually is the enemy general as well, so the Bane of the Steppe unit could lose their general here as they pull out. Luckily, able to do so and not take too many casualties as they do fall back, but still not bad whatsoever. We have a unit of archers which have been thrown up, and again, these are the Valari bowmen as well, so this unit is a top tier archer unit that can hold its own in melee. And they are only fighting spears, so this unit will actually do fairly decently. They're probably not going to win this battle, but still going to be able to just put up some pressure on this flank. And then the main assault is just bum rushing up the streets of Umbar. However, they are under a lot of missile fire, and this could come back to bite them. Obviously, the halberds are very well placed here. They want to try and breach this gap as quickly as possible and get their soldiers inside here, and they can really spread out and use their numbers. But right now, the archer fire is just so condensed and it has easy targets. They can break these units. You can see the morale is starting to drop here. which is not good. Luckily, a lot of the units, a lot of the elite units are safe with 3 units of the Warlords of Rune sitting back here, waiting for their time to be thrown forward. We have fresh infantry of Loke-Rim Macemen ready to throw themselves forward. So really, I think this was like kind of the exhausted units that have now been thrown forward in an attempt just to do as much damage as possible. Definitely not a bad plan. Also, it's absorbed a lot of the ammunition as well. This is too juicy not to shoot at. So when this shock infantry does eventually make its way up, it's not going to be they're not going to have that much to deal with it. If this is all that's left, they're not going to be able to kill the Warlords of Rune. They're going to cut through all of this stuff like butter. And that's why you can see these archers obviously focusing down the Black Serpent Rangers as well, knowing that that's a unit they really do need to kill. More reinforcements are arriving on this side, and it'll be really interesting to see if they do decide to send more soldiers around here. The chariots breaking their way through, but are not going to be doing too well. Nice little micromanagement there. I can't imagine these chariots do that much when it comes to impact, and then the elephants deal with them when they do strike in. I wonder how chariots also handle against cavalry as well. Like, who wins that engagement? Be very interesting to see that as they both just collide into one another. Luckily, there is a handful of arrows left as well. You can see the arrows really hitting in here, trying to soften up as much as possible. However, we do get another reinforcements as some more of the Umbar usurpers, as well as the Mahad Beastmasters, get thrown further and further forward. And you can see this unit of the Gear Bowmen have up to 105 kills now. Definitely doing work. But with a newly fresh unit of reinforcements arriving, that is going to be a big help. They also have a couple units set out here as well. I'm not sure if these are maybe bait to try and absorb some arrows. They do have a few more numbers that they can reinforce here. Whether or not they're going to be good numbers is another argument. There's also a unit of Serpent Archers here actually with ammunition. Obviously, saving ammunition is going to be very important in a battle like this. And the fighting on the streets does continue. Just seems like the halberds, though, are getting their pound of flesh as they go down, as more soldiers do set up. And I guess a little conclave here will be set up as best as possible. And now the shock infantry is up here as well. I mean, honestly, they really just need to try and breach this, make any holes in the formation. And it seems like soldiers have had to be brought away from here. There is nothing defending this rear position. But obviously, we have the Mumakil and the cavalry, so it's kind of hard to deal with that. But honestly, wouldn't it be a bad idea just to start pushing these guys up, bit by bit, throwing the defenders back. And really, unfortunately, this artillery is now out of ammunition. That's such a shame, because that could have been so useful at this point in the battle. You guys can see that the Mahad Spearmen have set themselves up in a very good triangle position here. Reminds me of days of old on Rome Total War. That is going to allow more of the Easterlings to get in. I mean, honestly, countercharging here wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but it's just these halberds. The halberds are proving such an annoyance, a thorn in the side, basically preventing them from really, I guess, committing to this. There is only one unit left, and if they had any arrows left, that would be the perfect target. They do actually have some arrows left. Yeah, really trying to deal with that would be great as another volley of fire arrows comes in, taking out a couple more of these archers. But obviously the two main positions here are going to be set up here, and obviously the one we were just looking at. It does look like the Warlords of Rune are actually routed there. Wow, that shock infantry being set back. That's pretty bad. Obviously, they still have this unit of halberds that need to get pushed up and another unit right there. But that's pretty good, and there's not really a lot left here. And it does also now give the opportunity for this cavalry to come around. There is nothing to stop them. I think the defenders are going to be in a real good position here. If this cavalry can quite easily rip through this, they can break the spearmen. Then clan guard's not going to hold against the unit of Bane of the Steppe, or sorry, Serpent Guard, and then rip into these 3 archer units. Can rout them, and they can really start to rack around. The defenders are a little bit up against it on this side because now this conclave has really opened up for them. And they can very much commit a lot of their soldiers further forward. Rather than just fighting one of the enemy units, they're now fighting, multiple, which is really good for the attackers. They can bring a lot of what they have left to bear. That right-hand side, I want to make sure we keep an eye on that cavalry. That cavalry should just rip through. There's no way this unit of spears holds. And yeah, you can see the defenders know that as well. They're going on the offense. They're throwing everything they've got forward to try and deal with these bowmen. And yeah, they need that cavalry and also the Mumakil, but it seems like the Mumakil are being brought back to try and, I guess, stabilize this position. They need to commit now. They need this break to happen, because if this breaks, then they can reinforce this section and probably win the battle. And you can tell that's exactly what they're banking on. God damn, this battle is going to come down to the very, very last soldiers on the battlefield on both sides. The clan's guard form that shield wall, but only being a man thick, the cavalry is going to have a very, very easy time of just ripping through them. And it's just not dense enough. There you go. That breaks, and then they can obviously wrap around and go directly into the back right there. The defenders all of a sudden have that advantage in their favor. Obviously, the cavalry coming in, and that's looking pretty good. Nice little hammer and anvil going into the back there, immediately routing these archers as well. Yeah, now all of a sudden they can make a decision. Do they send some soldiers around here, or do they just send everything back and try their best? The elephants have also arrived, and it doesn't seem like they are... Oh, that volley, though. Did you guys see that archer volley? I just killed like 4 elephants. They must have been super low. However, the last Mumakil charging in. Up to 350 kills. So they've already got their money's worth. That is for sure. But any extra ones that they can pick up, obviously will not be sniffed at, but unfortunately not able to achieve any more casualties. And this conclave is working fairly effectively, especially now that more reinforcements can be sent, more spearmen being sent in. I just think the morale is going to be super scary, especially with this cavalry moving in. Obviously, we still have a unit of Serpent's Guard here. As you know, this is again of the attacking cavalry, yeah. The Haradrim, surely, I mean, all they can do now is just smash into here and smash up, and then they just win the battle, right? I don't see... I mean, unless the Easterlings can just break through here, I don't really see what they can do. We've got the entire flanking force now coming in. Another beautiful cavalry charge, hitting into this remnants of artillery, crew, and archers. Able, again, to repel that. I mean, as long as these guys hold, they've got a chance. And yeah, I guess the battle is gonna really come down to whether or not they can break this, because as you can see, the Eastlings have sent a unit back to try and hold that line, and their goal is just to break through. If they can break through and take the city center, then they win the day, obviously. And it's whether or not this cavalry and these extra reinforcements can achieve that. This unit as well of Serpent Guard is quite quickly padding its stats by killing routing units. Respect it. Another cavalry charge as well coming in. I just don't know if these Serpent Guard have the numbers to break them. However, morale is dropping very, very low. The fighting is continuing up here. That morale, the archers just dropping bit by bit, man by man. I just don't see the Eastlings really having what it takes to go the extra step to finally clear off the defenders. Another cavalry charge coming in here as well. Yeah, that one was definitely way more impactful, and we'll be able to break that. Yeah, routing up here as well. I mean, the battle continues on for 6 minutes, but, I mean, it is over. Surely, yeah, there's nothing left whatsoever. Sword infantry coming around. The cavalry's going to wrap around, and that is definitely going to be GG. Fire arrows being lobbed in here as well, just trying to break and drop the morale of any unit. It's always a nice thing. It's always a double-edged sword, because you have to be careful not to rout your own units. But, yeah, throwing in some of them shots would definitely be able to do some damage. And here we go. A few more cavalry charges going in. Not very impactful there, but you're doing that damage nonetheless. And able to rout a handful of these guys as more and more of the fighting continues. We'll obviously get a few more glimpses, but I mean, the battle is over at this point. And as much as the Eastlings try, they just could not go that extra mile. They tried and they tried and they tried. But unfortunately fell short at the final hurdle. And I think at this point it is only a matter of time until that rear position does break and the rest of morale does dwindle and rout. And there we have it, guys. The remnants of the battle, they eventually did break with a handful of soldiers left in the Warlords of Rune, but still just not enough. So massive GG and a big thank you to all the players for sending this one into me. I'm interested to see how many kills. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, these units right here getting a lot of damage. 200, 211, 320 kills on this unit. Not bad. The Haradrim are here, and they are here to kill. That Mumakil unit getting a ton as well. So there we have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.